Hello, welcome to Stories in Time. My name's Eloise Schottler. I'm your storyteller. There's an old story from England that I saw this morning, and I thought it just sums up how I've been feeling lately. The title of this story is The Most Unfortunate Man. Well, of course, in my case, it's The Most Unfortunate Woman was what I was thinking about, but it's The Most Unfortunate Man. And I'm going to tell it to you today because there really is a lesson in it. There is. There was a man lived in England hundreds of years ago, and he sat around and he looked and he felt so unfortunate. Things just didn't go his way. He lost things. He lost jobs. He tried to get a wife, and he didn't have any success there either. And he felt miserably unlucky. So one day he thought about his state in life and how bad that was and how unlucky that was, and he decided he would just walk to the end of the earth and talk to God. He wanted to know, why don't you send me any luck? Other people have luck. Why don't I have any luck? So the next morning, he packed a bag. He had some cheese, some bread, enough to get him to, he thought, the end of the earth. You do know that Britain is an island, and he was going to the end of his earth. And he started out. And he'd been walking for quite a long time, and he cut through a woods. And he looked down, and there was the most pathetic-looking wolf he had ever seen. Well, it didn't look like a wolf. It looks like a straggly cloth that had had all its fur pulled off. And that thing was laying down on the ground underneath a tree, and he looked like he didn't have another breath to take. And as the man came by, he looked down, he said, "What's the matter with you?" "I don't know. I have no luck. I'm the most unluckiest wolf. I have no luck. I have no food. I'm so hungry. I feel that way too. I'm going to the end of the earth today to talk to God about why I don't get any luck. Would you like for me to ask why you don't have any?" "Oh, please. Please, maybe you'll come back with an answer that will help me to be better before I die." So he moved on, and he thought about that, and he knew he would remember to ask God about that wolf. And he walked on, and he walked on, and sometimes he was out of breath, and he would breathe harder, and actually he'd breathe, and then he'd breathe out, and it was like a wind coming out of him, and a strip of the forest. That's what happened. He was coming up on this tree, and the tree only had 2 leaves on it. That caught his eye. A 2-leaf tree. He only had 2 leaves on that tree. And as he came by, he breathed in deep, and he breathed out, and that breath became wind, and it blew away one of those leaves. "Oh!" was the sound that came out of the tree. "Oh! You blew off one of my leaves, and I only have one more." "Well, why don't you have more than that?" "I can't grow. I sit here, I think about it, I know I've got troubles, but I can't grow any. And I don't grow any leaves, I don't grow any taller. It makes me feel so unlucky." "Oh, unlucky? Well, I'm unlucky. And I'm going to the end of the earth to talk to God and ask him, why don't I have any luck? Would you like for me to ask him about your luck? Perhaps to find out how you could get more leaves on your tree?" "Yes, yes. I will." So he walked on. And by the time he had reached near the top of this rather high hill that was taking him nearer and nearer to the sky, he passed by a most beautiful little house. It was off away from the road. There was a fence, a picket kind of fence, going all around it. It was painted. It was pretty. There were flowers blooming all along that fence. And in the yard, there were little gardens. Some were flowers, some were vegetables. And in amongst those, bending over, looking at her fruits and vegetables, was a very beautiful woman. A very well-endowed, beautiful woman. She looked up and saw him, and she came out of her garden and walked over toward the fence with a smile on her face. "Hello, I don't see many people up here. I'm so far away from everybody that I don't see any people, and it's good to see you today. Would you like to come in and just have something to eat? I'm a very good cook." Well, he was hungry. She looked very happy, so he went inside. They sat down at the table, and she was a very good cook. She fixed beautiful food that was delicious. And she was also a very nice person to talk to. They laughed, talked, and it got dark outside. There was no going further up toward the end of the earth because it was getting dark outside. And she said, "Why don't you I have plenty of room here. I have another bedroom. I have a bed in there. You can sleep in there. Why don't you spend the night here? Be warm, be comfortable. And in the morning, I'll give you breakfast before you leave." That sounded very good to him. So he went to bed. He slept well. The next morning, he got up, and she had prepared coffee and some breads and some fruit, some things from her garden. And then she started crying. And he said, "Why are you crying?" She said, "Well, I don't like to complain, but you're leaving, and I like to have people around me in this place because there are no people up here. I have no one to talk to, no one to laugh with, or that will eat my food. I'm lonely. Oh, I'm really sorry. I feel unlucky because I'm so lonely. Oh, I'm really sorry. I'm going up to the end of the earth, and I'm going to talk to God about this unlucky business. Shall I ask him about you and how you could be happier? Oh, would you please?" "Yes." So he left, and he walked on, and it was midday, and there God was sitting on a cloud, floating around at the end of the earth. And he called out, "God, God, I want to talk to you, please." And God looked down and he said, "What is it?" "I have no luck." "Oh, I've heard that before." "Well, I don't. I don't have any luck at all. Other people have luck. I don't have luck. Why don't you give me luck?" You know what your problem is? You have plenty of luck. You don't know how to see it. You don't recognize it when it's standing right in front of you. Oh, I thought you just gave out the luck. Well, I do. But I put it out there. It's up to you to recognize your good luck. Oh, well, before I leave, can I ask you a question? There's a wolf that looks like he's dying down below. There's a tree that can't grow. And there's a woman that lives in a beautiful little house, and she's a delightful cook and a good person to be with, and she's so unhappy. Can you send them a message through me? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Just wait a minute. I'll lean over. I'll tell you. He did, and then the man walked on down the hill, going back. There was the little house. The woman was in the yard. She saw him coming and she waved and she smiled, and he came over to the fence and she said, "Did you ask God? Did you ask God what I can do so that I'm not unhappy?" And he said, "Yes, I did ask. And he said for me to tell you that what you need is a husband." Oh, well, that is a good idea. She stood back. She looked at him. "I really like you." "Well, I like you too. And we had an enjoyable time last night, talking and laughing and eating my food." "Yes, we did." "Have you ever thought you could marry me?" "Oh, I can't, because I have other things to do. And if I stop and marry you, then I'll lose my chance to find my luck." And he started off down the road. And he walked faster and faster, and he came to the tree that only had one leaf on it. The tree saw him and said, "What did he say? What did he say about me and the fact that I don't grow?" "Well," he said, "the reason you don't grow is because there's a treasure buried underneath you. And if you'll get somebody to dig that treasure out, you'll have room for your roots to grow." "Oh, well, I've someone left behind this tree. There is a shovel. Why don't you take the shovel and take out whatever's got the treasure in it? You can have the treasure." "Well, no, I can't do it, and I don't have time to stop here right now and to do that. But somebody will come along, and you ask them, and I bet they'll help you. But I am just in a hurry, and I am too busy. I'm going on down the road because I need to go home and find my luck." Oh. So he hurried on, and he hurried on, and he was coming nearer and nearer to where he needed to be to go home. And he saw the wolf. The wolf was still laying there, right there on the road. Laying there, looked as bad as he had before, laying there. "Did you see God? Did he give you any news for me? What can I do? What's wrong with me? You're hungry. That's what God told me. You're hungry. And this is what he told me to tell you. You're hungry, and what you need to do is eat the next stupid man that comes by and speaks to you." And he did. And that's the story. Thank you for coming.